Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's Born. I came back in the building. I'm recording at 5 something in the morning because I can't sleep. But that's besides the point. We last left off on what if Naruto's full uzimaki. He brought Haku and Zabuza back to the village, and Haku joined Team 7. Zabuza became a Jonin. So we're going to continue from there. I'm going to say from there, Haku begins to train Naruto. Since we know Kakashi's going to be mostly focused on training Sasuke, Haku trains with Naruto to help get his speed, like, up there, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all know in canon, Haku was like, yeet, boy, I'm out of here, you know what I'm saying? She was like just really fast, insanely, which didn't really make sense to some people, but I mean, hey, Ice used to status, you know what I'm saying? So she trained Naruto, and Kakashi the next day tells them that they're going to do the shooting exams, and also there's a catch for them since they're a four-man squad. So they have four Guinea. They're pretty much basically they have to gather double the scrolls. They have to gather two Earth scrolls and two Heaven scrolls. So yeah, from there I'm gonna say they say all right, and they only have 1 week left to train. So Naruto and Haku spend 4 days training and spend 2 days resting because they don't rest. Resting is partial to when it comes down to training, but they don't rest like the entire day. They'll train within the day as well, but man, they don't go as hard on it. Sasuke, I'm gonna say he gets the Chidori like really early, you know? Cause I mean, like, why not? Let's give it to him. Yeah, I guess. And then the shooting exams come around. Of course, they encounter um Kankuro, but things go differently this time. Naruto says put him down. Of course, we talk about Konohamaru. Kankuro says, "Make me, little brat." Then Kankuro tries to make Naruto fall by using his chakra strings. Naruto just slices through them with his hand and disappears out of his sight. Comes up behind and appears behind him with the kunai to his neck and said, "Drop him or I'll end you." Which scares Kankuro, and then Kankuro tries to attack him with a punch or elbow after dropping the kid. Which Naruto catches the elbow and then flips him on his back. And then he also says, "You in the tree, you should keep your teammates on a tighter leash." Sasuke, Sakura were kind of shocked, but not Haku. Haku also noticed them because I mean, I'm also at this point I could consider her as like a sensory ninja based on how she was in the show. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, her and Naruto both sensed them because they're sensory ninja. Although Naruto's a better sensory ninja, he helped Haku out with sensory, so that way he wouldn't be the only one. Just in case he missed something, Haku would be able to pick it up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they talk, blah blah blah, and we go on to the shooting exams. They walk into the building. They notice the genjutsu. They release themselves. Well, Naruto and Haku did. They didn't say anything to Sasuke or Sakura because I mean Sasuke he was like, okay, this is genjutsu. I'm just gonna release myself. Sakura she just followed Sasuke blindly. She was like, but that's a wall. Then she saw the wall through. She's like, what the hell? They just walked through a wall. She follows. Was like, oh, that's a genjutsu. I'm dumb, but you know what? Let's just keep it going. They finally make it to the room, and Naruto and Haku, they're not really shaken by the whole bloodlust thing. But Sasuke, he's shivering a little bit, but he's hiding it. Sakura, she's scared, so she's just cowering behind Sasuke. And then Naruto says, well, looks like the Konoha 9 are here then. Well, 10, counting Haku, I guess. They're like, Haku, who's that? It's like, oh, it's this girl we met on a mission. We had to protect a bridge builder. I'll tell you about it later, Kiva. I'll tell you guys about it later. Like, okay. So, how much stronger have you gotten? That's for me to know and you to find out the tuning exams, buddy. I can't really say exactly. But, you'll see. You'll see. So, of course, the first part of the tuning exams happens, but it doesn't happen the same way in canon. Naruto doesn't have to cheat and he doesn't give some, like, grand speech. Because Sakura doesn't want to give up because she knows that Sasuke wants to become a tuning, so she decides to stick with it. Thus, we move on to the second proportion. Uncle crashed through the window as usual, which I never understood why. Why would you do that? Why would you just throw a brick through the window? Like, but okay, whatever. She want to make a grand entrance, and go for it. So, after hearing about that they have to meet at the Forest of Death in an hour, Sasuke, Naruto, Haku, and Sakura, all four of them meet up. Well, they talk to each other. They basically devise a plan to make it to where they'll be the first team to get into the forest so they can find a safe place. And also at the same time, be cooling. You know what I'm saying? So the plan was pretty simple. Make it seem like Naruto's really cocky, and then Anko tests him. So they were the first team to show up there at the Forest of Death, besides Guard's team, because man, Guard's team is just fast because of that magnet release. But whatever, that's another day. Anywho, um, uh, other teams arrive, and from there things go as canon. But besides, this time Naruto actually dodges the kunai, doesn't get cut, and he appears right behind Anko with the kunai to her neck. He says, "Since you're so cocky, your team will be the first team to go in. Go ahead." They say, "Cool," and of course they already have one scroll, but they have to go earn the other three. So they go to the forest. They go like as far as they can, like close to the tower as they can get. So they're close behind the tower, and they pretty much basically their goal is simple: it's either A, attack a team that comes like this far, or B, will he's Naruto send shadow clones, and they pretty much go attack and bring back the scrolls. So Naruto makes 400 shadow clones, which go panned out into teams of four, and they go around fighting people, and they come back with the scrolls. Since they're really close to the tower, Orochimaru never did get the chance to give Sasuke the curse mark. And from there, they go to the tower, they open it, and Iruka pops out. Iruka's like, "Don't tell me you finished the first 35 minutes of the exam." I was like, "Yeah, it was really easy, surprisingly." Like, you know what? It's like, okay, so what are we supposed to do now? You have to wait the full 5 days, basically. You have to wait the full 5 days, pretty much. So, I guess rest or train, whichever one you want to do. Like, alright. Then Naruto grabs Haku and they vanish. Sasuke just goes to a room and he goes and lays down for a bit. He's not tired or anything. He's just kind of like, meh, I don't feel like doing nothing right now. I'm gonna go chill. Naruto and Haku appear back in the training field and they just begin sparring against each other for the next 6 hours. And then their sparring is over. And oh yeah, Naruto's team actually set a new record for finishing the exam within 10 minutes. Y'all. But that's besides the point. Then Naruto and Haku finally come back, and his hair bruised like hell. Naruto has all kinds of icicles in his arms and legs, and he barely can walk, which is why he has a shadow clone carrying him. He also has a shadow clone carrying Haku, because Haku's just kind of, her pressure points and shit like that is kind of hurt right now, so they're just in pain. Then they look at each other like, then Naruto goes, "Yeah, we probably went too far in the sparring, didn't we?" I was like, "Yeah, I may have immobilized both of your arms and legs for the next 2 days." It's like, "Yeah, I may have immobilized a good portion of your chakra for the next 2 days as well." Like, oh well, guess I'll be sleeping for the next 2 days then. So next, we're gonna time skip up to the tournament part. Now, Kiba, he doesn't realize it, but Naruto's way out of his league. He over here thinking he gonna beat Naruto just like that. Nah, fam. He got his KK Genkai and his Dojutsu, fam. You ain't doing nothing to him. So from here, the matches will go pretty much the same, except for since Haku's there, I'd say she gets a bye for this. Well, no, she'd have to fight someone twice, so she'd fight Tamari. After Tamari beats Tenten, her and Tamari fight, and Haku wins. Sorry, Tamari, but you don't get the chance to fight Shikamaru. You're out, and I'm gonna actually, nah, I'll say I'm gonna change that. Haku fights Kankuro and beats and scares him into just surrendering. Naruto and Kiba fight actually goes a whole lot more differently. Naruto basically when the announcers are there ready, they're both nodded. Naruto had his eyes closed. Kiba was like, "You having your eyes closed is gonna make it easier for me. Stand there and get hit, kid, or brat, whatever the hell they want to call him." And as he became more feral, Naruto opened his eyes and it shocked everyone besides his entire team. Everyone was like, "Naruto has a Rinnegan? What the hell?" Then he pulls out his Uzumaki chains as well. Kiba's still charging at him begins charging at him with the Getsuga. Naruto then just uses his chains to wrap around him and stop him and trap him to the ground completely. He says, "Kiba, you're not breaking out of those chains. Those are Uzumaki chains." You're pretty much unbreakable. I mean, there probably is something that can break it, but you're not strong enough to break it. So it's either you give up or you could die from chakra exhaustion. Well, actually, you could just pass out from chakra exhaustion. I have all day to stand here, so what you want to do? Kiba then decides to give up, and everything plays out as canon. And when Neji was about to deal the final blow, Naruto appears with his Rinnegan and does Almighty Push, pushes him far back against the wall, and keeps him held there with his uzumaki chains. And he took his chakra so that way he also put a chakra seal on him so that way his Byakugan would deactivate. And then he knocked him unconscious. Picked up Hinata. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all, he trained with his Rinnegan and realized that he can summon this thing called the King of Hell, like Pain can. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? He summons the King of Hell, puts Hinata inside his mouth. Everyone's like, "What are you doing, Naruto?" They're like, Naruto's like, "Calm down. She isn't dead." Then Hinata pops out, like, "I'm all fine. I'm healed. Thank you, Naruto." Naruto's like, "Sure thing. Well, looks like I'm gonna be fighting Neji in the finals." Of course, we all know that's gonna happen anyway. So from there, Hiruzen says they have an entire month of training. So Kakashi trains Haku actually this time, and her taijutsu and a couple of other things. Naruto goes off and trains with Jiraiya. Sasuke, he goes through the Uchiha library and spends the entire month there just reading up on jutsus. He even practices a couple of them while training, and he goes and trains sometimes with Naruto while he's training with Jiraiya. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Beep 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 beep. Mink 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 mink. Oh, and within that 1 month training, Naruto comes up with two jutsus. Well, a jutsu and a combination revolving around his Uzumaki chains. The jutsu is called Wind Slash, where he pretty much takes his sword. If did I ever mention him having a sword? Whatever, I'm gonna say he has one. He takes his sword out and does like a wind slash. He can make it big, small, however big. And when I say big, I mean like it could be like nine tails big if he puts enough chakra into it. Because I mean, my boy Naruto is pretty much a chakra sponge. So bang. And from he also the combination. I'm gonna say pretty much he uses five shadow clones. They each do an elemental jutsu, and Naruto appears up behind you, wraps you in the chakra chains, and it's like pretty much Rock Lee doing the primary lotus, but this time when he does it, Naruto gets off of you at the last second, but his chains are still on you. So even if you think, oh, I just suffered damage, okay, I can get back up. Nah, fam, you got chakra chains absorbing your chakra, boy. What you gonna do then? But I mean, you could probably still dodge it maybe if you're smart enough or fast enough. Yeah. Okay. And from there, the 1 month is over. June exam starts back up. Everyone goes there, and it's Naruto versus Neji first. Neji thinks he can beat him because he has the rotation. And he thinks that since he has rotation, he can pretty much stop that almighty push. But he doesn't realize all the other abilities Naruto has. So as soon as the process begins, Naruto doesn't activate his Rinnegan. Neji doesn't activate his Byakugan. He thinks he can beat him without it. So Naruto says, "Go ahead and close all my chakra points. I can beat you." So Neji does that. He's like, "You're a fool." Then 2 seconds later, his eyes reopen. He closes his eyes for a couple of seconds, reopens them, shows the Rinnegan, and also there's this red ominous chakra around him, which, as you know, is the Ninetales. So his Rinnegan is kind of reddish purplish with slit-like eye pupil, along with the Rinnegan abilities. Everyone's thinking he's lost control, but Hiruzen's like, I trust him. I don't think he's lost control. Also, Jiraiya stays in the village to watch the Chunin exams, just in case if anything happens. So yeah, Naruto beats Neji. Shino loses to Haku. Gaara goes against Sasuke, and things begin from there. Boom, Genjutsu happens. Naruto releases himself. Jiraiya goes up there and notices Orochimaru, and he goes up there and helps with their fight. Naruto sends four Shadow Clones to go up there and help him, and the rest of the Shadow Clones to evacuate the village and help people out. While Sasuke looks up at Naruto and Haku, nudging them to come with him so they can go and fight. They both appear beside him and like, let's go. Sasuke's like, all right, let's get out of here then. So they go, they fight, and they come up with a combination within the time of them fighting. Haku freezes. Haku sends a bunch of ice needles at Gaara, which actually ends up hitting him. Sasuke does a fire style fireball jutsu. Naruto does his wind slash, which cuts off the half tail, the tail, which damages him for a brief moment and makes him stop, and it exposes his neck because the sand begins to fall off because it takes a moment for him to regenerate that back. So from there, Naruto appears behind him and neck shots him, which makes him pass out. Then he wakes up 2 minutes later. Naruto does his famous talking no jutsu, and Madara become friends. Then Conqueror and Tamari come up like ready to fight, but they know they're gonna lose. And then Gaara says, "I've had enough," so they leave. Then Naruto goes back to the village and says, "You guys escort people. I'm going to go help Lord Third and Master Jiraiya fight." So Naruto then appears out of nowhere inside of there because he developed his own time-space jutsu. I'm just gonna say he did. Don't ask me how, because I just thought about it, but whatever. So yeah, he helps them out. He uses wind. He makes four shadow cones when he appears out of nowhere, and uses wind slash. And they're all very large. Orochimaru can't dodge it, so he gets killed right then and there. And then the village is saved. Then he sends Jiraiya, Naruto, Sasuke, Haku out on a mission to go get Tsunade. They find her drinking at a bar as usual. They make up. She starts trash talking the Hokages, and since Naruto knows that his father's a fourth Hokage, he don't take too kindly to that. He's like, ma'am, my father is Thor a fourth, and I don't take kindly to you shit talking him. So me and you outside right now, make a bet. If I can't hit you with the ones, you come back to the village and be Hokage. If I can't, I guess I'm your servant or something. Then you shit. She was like, all right, let's go outside then. And of course, Naruto does the Rasengan and vanishes from her sight. She actually couldn't keep up with him, and he appears behind her. He hits her with the Rasengan. She gets up angry, and he says, I win. Now let's go back to the village. She tries to make another bet. He's like, nah, no thanks. Now pack your things, because we're leaving tomorrow. I'd rather not make this mission longer than it has to be. So they all go back to the village the next day. Tsunade gets, well, before the Tsunade gets coronated as like Hokage, all that business happens. While Sasuke and Naruto are like chilling, like after coming back from training one night, they're walking and then the Sound Fork come up and approach them. Kabuto took over Orochimaru's operations and was still after Sasuke's eyes. So when they came, Naruto teleported Sasuke. When he grabbed him on the shoulder, he teleported Sasuke to where Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Haku were. Haku was with them at a bar, but she wasn't getting drunk. She was just there trying to make sure that they don't overdo it. And he says that idiot needs our help. Now come on, let's go. And they go help. They go to see Naruto actually manages to summon the Nine Tails, which shocks everyone. They think the Nine Tails is taking over, but they see Naruto on top of there. So when the Sound Force tries to leave, there's the girl. I think her name, yeah, Tayuya. She is actually the one left behind, and Naruto and Sasuke appears behind her, knocks her unconscious. It looks like the Naruto, and Naruto releases the summon, and then he falls down into the water, comes out of the water, and Jiraiya tries to hit him, and he dodges. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave things off for now. It's been a good time. I'll see you around. Peace.